Hey BGC members, my name is Miss Michelle and I am the Director of Character and Leadership at BGC of Austin. Something that can challenge all of our character strengths is dealing with a breakup. And so relationships are really complicated. This video is intended for our teen viewers, right? So maybe you are learning that you have relationships that are really important to you, whether it be a friendship, whether it be a boyfriend, girlfriend, or a partner. These can be really difficult experiences to go through, and it's likely that most of us will have a breakup before we graduate high school. And so I want to talk to you guys about how to deal with a breakup and a couple of things that we can do to make it a little bit more tolerable, because it's never easy, right? Let's go over a few of the questions that is on this worksheet. So I printed out a worksheet. It printed kind of small, so I'm going to zoom with the magic of holding up close. So coping with a breakup. I'm gonna go through the questions with you all, and then I'm not gonna answer them myself. I just want to talk to you about the things that you can think about when you are going through this life event, right? So first, you're gonna think about, what are the feelings that you're currently experiencing? What are you feeling, right? So for most people, it might be confused, angry, sad, right? It's often a lot of negative emotions. Unless it's a relationship that you wanted to end, then you might feel relieved, happy. All of those feelings are okay, and they make sense, right? None of them are bad or wrong. All the feelings that you feel are okay. So the first step would be to just write them all down. What are feelings that you're currently experiencing, right? So that's number one. Number two, how have you been coping so far? So coping is a word that means dealing with. So how have you been dealing with this? Coping skills can include maybe you're cooking when you're frustrated, right? So you can like move around, get some energy out. Maybe you exercise when you're sad because it increases your happy hormones or your happy chemicals in your brain, right? Number three, what are some things you think you can do better to cope? So maybe you just went through a breakup and you're really sad. Maybe you're doing something that's not super healthy. You can maybe reevaluate the way that you're coping, right? So that's a really good question to get your brain thinking. What are some things you think you can do better to cope, right? And so number four, what are some people you can reach out to if you need to talk, right? Having that support system is really, really important when you're going through something as hard as a breakup. Because you just broke one relationship, it's really important for you to identify what are the strong relationships in your life. What are the relationships that you can count on, right? So maybe that means your sister, your brother, your parent, a close friend of yours, somebody that really understands you and really can understand what you're going through, right? So that was number four. Who are some people you can reach out to if you need to talk? Number five, what are places or things you should avoid that remind you of this person? So to me, that sounds like a trigger question. So a trigger is something that you see, you associate with somebody else, and then boom, you're in those feelings again, right? So what are places or things you should avoid that remind you of that person? Maybe you guys had a special song, maybe you guys had a special place. So just making a list of all the things that you should probably avoid to avoid you feeling like sad or going through those feelings again can be helpful to you, right? So number five, what is something you want to do but you know you shouldn't because it won't help? So something that comes to mind really quickly, and I'm smiling because I'm guilty of it, is that when you go through a breakup, sometimes it's smart to give each other space, right? So like not talking for a while, maybe just letting yourselves process your own information. What is something you want to do but you shouldn't because it won't help after a breakup? Usually it's don't text your ex, right? So that's a thing that I see a lot. That's a thing that is a joke within friends of mine is like, don't text your ex, right? And the reason that that's a thing is because the healing process when it comes to breaking a relationship is really different for everyone, but reaching out to a person that you used to have feelings with, or maybe the relationship has changed, is not going to help the situation, right? When you're trying to grow on your own, if you involve past pain or past relationships, it's going to make it a lot more difficult, right? Your emotions change when you're with somebody, your thoughts change, your ideas change, but your feelings might even change, right? And so when a relationship is finally over, and maybe it's not something you wanted, maybe it is something you wanted, it's really, really smart and important to give yourself the space to think on your own, to feel on your own, to heal on your own. And then if the time is ever right again, you'll know, right? But the one thing that you should, is something you want to do but probably shouldn't because it won't help. Maybe there's other things, right? So texting your ex is probably one of many things that you probably shouldn't do when you're healing from a relationship. Another one that I can think of is something you want to do but shouldn't because it won't help. Maybe you replay that song all the time. Maybe you're like, you have, I don't know, some Rihanna song on repeat. Something like that is something that you probably shouldn't do when you're healing from a broken relationship, because re-triggering yourself, we talked about triggers earlier, right? Things that remind you of that person. Re-triggering yourself and putting yourself through that hurt again and again and again and again is probably not going to be productive to your healing. And what's important here is your healing, right? So dealing with a breakup is really, really difficult, but it is something that we're all going to go through at one point or another. I guarantee it. And so I really want you all to think about what you can do to prepare for this kind of heartbreak. And again, it doesn't have to be a boyfriend, girlfriend, partner. It can be a breakup with your best friend. I've definitely gone through that, and those are some of the hardest. It could be a breakup with maybe a family member. I mean, sometimes family members or relationships with family break, right? And so that's always a hard thing, but it's not impossible. And it's something that we can all work through with some tips like this. So this worksheet and these questions are a really good way to kind of process your information, because the quicker and easier that we're able to process what's going on in here and in here, right? The smoother we can get to the other side where the grass is greener. So hopefully these tips were helpful to you. I'm hoping that you all don't have this issue, but if you do, I hope these tips were helpful for you. So take care, everyone. We'll see you in the next video. Let me know if you liked this type of video or not. I think these are kind of cool conversations to have. Although you can't have a worksheet in front of you or something, you can follow along with the questions. And if you're going through this, then it's really helpful, right? So take care, everyone.